All right, this is going to be a little bit of a different podcast than I've done in the past. This one's going to be a little bit more vulnerable. It's going to be very honest and definitely very different for me. But I'm excited to tell you guys this story and share some information that I have obtained via research and a few other conversations that I've had. But excited to share this information with you and get this out to the public. So let's jump into it. All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Taryn Hunt. I'm excited to be back for another podcast with you guys again today. If you haven't watched my last podcast, go ahead and check it out. It is on YouTube, so I am doing these on video again. So go ahead and check that out. It's about broadheads, and man, I'd really love some of the input from you guys. I've actually had some really good responses from a lot of you. And as I've looked at different broadheads that you guys have recommended, a couple of them really stand out. So the Sever broadheads is one that's really stood out to me, as well as the Evolution or Bloodsport. I think it's basically the same broadhead, but a really interesting broadhead. I'm looking at a couple different other ones. The Micro Hades from Grim Reaper is one that I'm looking at. Also the Iron Wheels. So just looking at a bunch of different broadheads right now. But if you guys haven't listened to that podcast, go check it out and then come back and respond to, or you don't have to come back to this one, respond on that video and let me know your guys' thoughts on some of the broadheads that you're using. But this podcast is going to be very different for me because this is something that I'm not extremely comfortable with doing, but I do feel like this is a necessary conversation to have and something that I've been very excited over the last quite a while to share this with you guys, bring this out so that you all are aware of it and know about it, and excited to see how I can help other people in the process as I'm helping myself. So that probably leads to a lot of questions like, Taryn, what the heck are you talking about? So it's been a few weeks now. I did a podcast with Jonathan McCormick. He's the Phorm Outdoors podcast, and we had a great time just talking about podcasting. And we're both from Utah, so we talked about some of the hunts that we get to do, and just a lot of different things. But one of the major things we talked about was First Phorm. So if you're not familiar with First Phorm, it's not even just a supplement company. A lot of people will say, oh, it's a supplement company. It's really a lot more than that. And I didn't know that when I had that conversation with Jonathan. He kind of talked about it, and I felt like I understood it, but I honestly did not understand it at the time. And as I started researching after that podcast, I was really amazed at everything that I started to learn. And it meant a lot to me. And so I'm going to kind of take this story back a long ways, even before I did that podcast with Jonathan. If you guys haven't watched that, the Phorm Outdoors podcast that I did with him, I'll leave a link up in the corner for you guys so that you can go in and watch that. And he's an awesome guy. If you guys aren't subscribed to his podcast, make sure you go and subscribe to his podcast as well. If you're watching this and aren't subscribed to my podcast, hit that subscribe button below. That means a lot to me as a content creator, and it helps me, know what kind of content that I need to be putting out there for you guys. And comment, please, positive, negative, whatever you guys want to put down there. I take it all, and love those positive comments that you guys can give and support. But definitely the comments help me build this platform as far as what kind of content needs to be out there, as well as just helps, kind of builds the algorithm on YouTube and any other places that you are listening to this podcast or watching it. So let's take this story back a long ways. So I've been a runner my whole life, and, it's something that I've loved doing, and it's kind of been my workout. I'm not a huge weightlifter. I don't do CrossFit or anything like that. I probably should. I do some weights but it's mainly to help support my running. And, I've done a couple things in the past to help me cut weight to prepare for a marathon training. So what I always like to do is I like to cut weight before I start my marathon training. The lighter I am, the faster I am. And that's proven that, the lighter you are, you can run faster. Doesn't mean that a heavy guy can't run faster than what I'm running as a lighter guy, but each person is their own individual. So I've done a couple things in the past that helped me lose that weight prior to marathon training. So I've done the paleo diet, and I love that diet. It's worked very well for me in the past. It helps me lose a ton of weight in a hurry. It's a little bit of a difficult diet to follow. And that's really all it is it's a diet. It doesn't really add in additional stuff to help support some of the things you need when you're doing, when you're trying to cut weight. And so, I started looking at some other things that are out there, and I have a good friend. So I'm also a nurse, as most of you know, and there's a friend of mine that's a nurse as well. And her and her husband started doing this program, and it was called 75 Hard. And I was like, what is 75 Hard? And I could tell when she was doing it, she was so motivated and dedicated to it. I'm like, okay, this is different. And so I got the book, and I have it here. So I got the 75 Hard book. If you don't know what it is, it was written by Andy Frisella, who him and his brother Sal are really the creators of Phorm. They're the ones that developed that company. So 75 Hard, it's basically 75 days, and you have to stick to some certain commitments. So they have an app, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull that up here so I can go over the things that are required of you. And so let's see here. Let me type in my password. So to do this program, some of the things are simple. Some of them are a little bit harder. So you have to do 2 45-minute workouts every day. One of those has to be outside. And so running really kind of makes it easy because I can do one of my running exercises outside, and then I can do my weightlifting inside. And some days, man, it gets tough to do that stuff. Some days I don't have an outside workout. I ran on the treadmill in the morning, and I'll go for a walk. Honestly, I'll do a 45-minute outdoor walk. And I've done that in the snow. I've done that in the rain. I've done that in the bitter cold or extreme heat because I've done 75 Hard a few times now. But so one of them has to be outside. And Andy actually talks about it on his podcast. He talks about how, there's been times where he took his stationary bike, pulled it out into his driveway and rode for 45 minutes on his stationary bike, but he was outside. So it still counted. So 2 45-minute workouts every day. One of them has to be outside. So you get an hour and a half of exercise every day. Obviously, you're going to lose weight doing that. It's kind of just inevitable. And they have to be 2 separate workouts, by the way. It can't be a combination. You can't do an hour and a half and do half of it indoors, half of it outdoors. Like I couldn't run for 45 minutes indoors and then immediately run for 45 minutes outdoors. If it was in a pinch, I would probably count that. But he's really looking for you to do 2 separate workouts, and he explains this in the book. And by the way, guys, I'll link this book down below. It's a great book. Even if you aren't planning to do 75 Hard or want to do 75 Hard, it's a good book. It's a motivating book. You have to take a progress picture every single day with your shirt off. So women obviously wear your bra, but for men, take your shirt off and take a picture, and that way you can see that progress. You have to read 10 pages in a book. And this isn't any book. You can't just read, like I've got Splinter Cell here that I'm reading. It's just a novel book. It can't be a novel book. It's got to be a self-help book to help you be a better person. And there's a ton out there. As I've done 75 Hard, I've read some really, really good books. Relentless is one that I absolutely loved. Jocko's books, David Goggins' books, Cam Hanes. Read his books, just these books that are really good to help kind of motivate you, but also help you be a better person as well. So more of a self-help book, but 10 pages every single day. You have to drink a gallon of water. That's the toughest one for me, by the way. I carry a 32-ounce cup, basically, and I drink, a gallon of water with that 32-ounce cup, which is about four of those refilled every day. And so it's that one's the hardest one because, drink the water is one thing, but the residual effect of that is that you got to pee all the time. And I travel for a living. I'm always on the road, and so when I'm driving from Utah to Colorado, it poses a problem when you're driving across the country like that. But hey, I still did it. It still worked. It was still possible. You have to follow a diet, and that's usually when I'll do like the paleo or something like that, a different kind of diet. No sugar, or I'll do a runner's diet. Runner's diets, you still have some carbs and sugars in there, but it's no junk. And then no cheat meals or alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, so that makes that one very easy. So you do these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things for 75 days. And I'll you guys will see it on the video, but I'll show you the app there on the side so you guys can see it. But 75 days of following that, and I've absolutely loved it. But as I've read about it and been in here, I've read about the first Phorm stuff that was associated with this. And, Andy talks about it and how good the stuff is. And I've always like, okay, well, he's biased, supplements are supplements. They are what they are. And, it's not that big of a deal. And if you've listened to that podcast that I did with Jonathan, you'll know that there are some differences when it comes to supplements and the things that we put in our body. I did a podcast recently, with Deadshot Nutrition, and we talked a lot about supplements there as well. And so I don't know why I said that. I don't know if I said Josh, but Josh with Deadshot Nutrition. I think I said that, but if I didn't, Josh, sorry, buddy. But it was with Josh, and Josh talked a lot about that, like as far as like what supplements are good, what supplements are bad, not bad, but aren't as beneficial. And again, you guys got to know this about me. I'm not a supplement guy, so I'm not a supplement pusher. Now we've had I wouldn't say partnerships. We've had discounts from different supplement companies in the past, and have worked with them, and it's been okay, but it hasn't really been what I've looked for to combine eHunter with. And so, it hasn't been something that I've really pushed. And honestly, in the outdoor industry, especially in hunting, we're seeing all these companies pop up as far as, different supplement companies. But that's really all they are supplement companies. There's not a lot more to them than that, why would there be? There doesn't need to be more than that to a lot of them. That's what they want to do, and that's what they want to push and make their living with it, which is perfectly fine. And a lot of them have good stuff. I'm not here to talk bad about anybody and the stuff that you use and the stuff that these companies are putting out there, because there's a lot of good stuff out there. But after that podcast with Jonathan and I've done 75 Hard a few times, it really made me take a step back and look at First Phorm. And they just recently came out with First Phorm Outdoors. So obviously that's where I was attracted to. I'm like, okay, well, First Phorm Outdoors is really where I want to look and see if this is something that would be a good opportunity to partner eHunter with. And I was really skeptical because I've talked to a lot of supplement companies in the past. I've applied to other supplement companies really just to help kind of supplement my running. And then I would tie it into eHunter as well as a platform, because obviously it takes money to do what I'm doing with eHunter. It takes money to do the website and the podcasting and everything that I'm doing. And so, you look for those companies that you can partner with, that people can help support you with as they're helping themselves. And so as I've looked for a company specifically as it relates to supplements, there just wasn't a company out there that I really wanted to do it with. And so, I've been at this for 4 years, and I just haven't really felt like there was any company that I wanted to connect my name with their name until now. So today, like I said, is a little bit of a different podcast than I have done in the past, because I've never really pushed a supplement company. I haven't had the knowledge to do it. For one, I guess that's one thing that I don't want to push anything that I don't know about. If it's pushing Onyx maps, I can push Onyx maps all day long. I love Onyx. I love what they do. I love that program. I know it like the back of my hand. I'm in it all the time. I have that knowledge, and I can help people with that. I'm trying to think of any of some of the other companies. Vortex Optics. Yep, I've used pretty much every product of, not every product, but a lot of their products. I've got a stack of their products right over there, of just a bunch of different things from them. So I can speak to those things. I can help people with those things. If they're looking for a product, I can make sure that works for them and get them the right one that fits their need. With supplements, I haven't been that way. And so, like I said in the beginning, First Phorm really, yes, it's a supplement company, but it's a whole lot more than that, which that's what really started to attract me into it. So let me just tell you a little bit of this story. So after the conversation I had with Jonathan on this podcast, I started researching this and kind of digging into it a little bit. And, first thing I did is I went to their website and I looked to see what they had. And for the most part, when I looked at the supplements, I'm like, okay, well, this is very similar to what they have, but what everybody else has. And there was a few things that really caught my eye, and I'm going to talk about a few of these things. But then I started like really digging into like the social media and what they're putting out there, and then into the website. And they put out blogs and then also some of their ambassadors are putting out blogs. And so I started like really digging into this company and what it's about and what they're trying to promote. And the more I dug into it, the more I'm like, holy smokes, like this really is like, I could get on board with this. Like this could be a good thing. And they do require a lot out of their people that support them, but I think that's a good thing. I think if you're gonna be the best, you have to expect the best, and so they have those expectations, high expectations. So I set up a call with them, and I had a call and talked with them about it. At that time, I'd been using a couple of their things, hadn't really been using a lot of their stuff. Again, I'm a runner, I'm not a weightlifter, and so there's not a ton that I'm not gonna use a lot of the stuff. I was using their pre-workout, and I've been using their protein, and it was great. Their protein is amazing, by the way. I know everybody claims to have like the best tasting stuff. Some stuff tastes like crap. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna shame anybody out there, but man, there's some protein that tastes like absolute garbage. The first thing I noticed with the First Phorm protein was how good it tastes. That's why I was using it. It was good tasting. I really enjoyed it, and if it's something that I'm gonna enjoy, then it's something I can promote and continue to use. So I was using that, and like I said, the pre-workout. So I did this call and was talking about like kind of what my goals were as a person, not even just as like e-hunter, but for Taryn Hunt. What are your goals and what do you want to do? And I was like, man, okay, this is like they're really investing in me, and the more I dug into it, like it was not about the company and it wasn't about what they're doing or anything like that. Every single time I brought up any kind of conversation or even them, it was about me. And again, it wasn't about eHunter. It was about me personally. And that means a lot to us as individuals. And like I said, in the beginning of the intro of this podcast, is a little bit vulnerable, but it meant a lot to me that like they cared about me and they wanted me to be successful. And we maybe talked, for 20% of the time about the products from First Phorm. Spend the other 80% talking about like, how can Taryn be a better person? How can I be a better runner? How can I be a better dad? How can I be a better husband? How can I be, just a better person in the community? It was just crazy. How can I be, then on the eHunter side of it, how can you put better content out there that will help people be better and achieve? And I've never really thought about that. In fact, I've almost been a little bit on the selfish side of like, even going back to my last podcast, which it really is, looking for the best broadhead for me, but I'm trying to help everybody else find the best broadhead as well of what's going to be best for harvesting animals. But talking about like the content putting out there to help other people. And so that's really kind of what I want to do is help other people be the best that you can be and utilize, what I'm learning and what I've gained from First Phorm already, in just a short amount of time short amount in comparison to, you know, some other people, and in short in comparison to how long I've been doing the podcast, but definitely to learn ways that, that I can improve and help and benefit not only my own life, but those around me. So I am excited to announce, you know, the connection, and I don't even know what word to put to it yet. What that connection, what that relationship is between First Phorm and eHunter and really and Taryn, because it's more than just a partnership. It's a lot more than that. I look at this as an adventure and what this is gonna do down the road, for those around me, and those of you listening. And I hope that I hope I'm coming off across the way that I want to. That I want to be genuine. I want you guys to know that I genuinely do look forward to what this is going to be able to allow us to do. Yes, it does help support the podcast. There's a monetary side to that, but there's also a lot more to it than that. And if that's your purpose and you want to help support the podcast, great. This is a great way to do it, and I appreciate that. But the general idea behind this is to really help us grow as individuals. I'm excited to see the growth that I'll have as an individual myself, and I'm excited to see the growth that you all will have, and I hope that we can share that with each other. On the podcast, you're going to see a lot of different things. I've got a lot of people that are like, "Hey, Taryn, let me jump on the podcast with you. I'd love to just chat with you about life." Like, and some of them are First Phorm people, which is great. I'm excited to have them on. Some of them know hunting, some of them don't. Some of them are part of the First Phorm Outdoors, which is great. The First Phorm Outdoors, if you're not following them on social media, make sure that you're following them. And I'm going to put links to all this stuff down below so that you guys, know that it's out there. But really cool stuff going on, really invested. This company does it right. And I've said it since the beginning. I only want to partner with companies. And again, I hate using the word partner because that's really not what this is, but it's really more than that, I guess is what I'm saying. But to put my name with somebody else's name, I don't like to do it with just anybody. And I know every content creator out there freaking says that, but I'm honest in that because I don't want to be frivolous and try to promote something that I don't know, I don't understand, and there's a lot of companies that, I know very well and I've reached out to and they haven't wanted to, partner with, but this one with First Phorm has been a lot of fun, and just the community that is surrounds First Phorm. I think that anybody that wants to improve themselves, be a better person in a lot of different ways, pay attention, because I promise you that you will see better results, whether that's physically or with your relationships or with, just your drive and dedication and stuff like that. I feel like that all of this is so much better. So I do want to talk a little bit about First Phorm and some of the stuff that I'm been using, just so that I don't want you to think, okay, well, Taryn's just saying this and he's never used it. Well, that's not the case. One thing you guys will know about me, and I did kind of allude to this in my last podcast, but I love energy drinks. It's one thing that I absolutely love, and you can see it if you guys are watching the video that I've had an energy drink sitting here next to me the whole time. In fact, it's not even open. I might have to change that. I brought it down here because I wanted to share it with you. But I love energy drinks, and I've loved Monsters. I've loved a lot of the Rockstars, Red Bulls. I've drank them all. Love energy drinks. They and it's not even just like the energy that it gives me. I just like the taste of a lot of them. But definitely the energy is a perk to drinking them. And so one of the first things when I hopped on the website looking at First Phorm, because like I said, I've been using some of the other stuff, but it was just general stuff. Like I knew that I wanted protein and I knew I wanted a pre-workout. Those are just things that I've always used for running. And so I kind of did it without thinking, just going on the website and ordered a couple things. It was just easy. That's what I've always done. I haven't really paid much attention to anything else that's on there because it's honestly kind of confusing when you get on some of these supplement websites of how many supplements there are on there and what you need to use them for, and blah blah blah. There's just so much to it. And Josh and I again talked about it during the Deadshot Nutrition podcast. If you can't tell, I've been a little bit obsessed with nutrition lately, because you can kind of see the podcast that I got going on. But anyways, back to energy drinks. So First Phorm has these energy drinks. So this is awesome. This is called the Screamin' Freedom energy drink. This is probably my favorite one of the ones I've had, and I haven't had all of them. I'll be honest with you. There's a few of them that I haven't tried yet. I love the blueberry one. I love the orange sunrise one. In fact, Jonathan did a video just recently where he opens the video by cracking open an orange sunrise, because it's one of the classics, and they're just good. I love giving that little jolt of energy to I can't wait any longer. It's just, this has got to happen. This is so good, honestly. And I know everybody that like is with a company always says that, but this one is so good. Oh man, I don't even know what the flavor, like the actual flavor of it is, but it's a berry flavor. But man, it is so dang good. So again, I love energy drinks, but they are terrible for you, right? I mean, we kind of all know that some of the stuff that's in a Monster is not very good. And so the thing that I love about this is it's more of a natural focus on the stuff that's in these drinks. Plus there's some hydration, some vitamins. It's zero sugar, which was a huge thing for me, because when you start drinking some of these other energy drinks, a lot of them have a lot of sugar. The Monsters have a ton of sugar in them, and so trying to get away from that, again, trying to lose the weight for marathons and stuff like that, this is definitely this is so good. Oh man, I'm sorry for you guys listening on the podcast. You're listening to me drink, but dang it, it is good. So this one has 200 milligrams of caffeine. I think most of them have about that, but it's natural caffeine. That's another thing. Josh and I kind of talked about it with the Deadshot Nutrition one, is like some of the energy drinks give me the jitters, and I don't get that from these. I also don't get the crash from these that I get from drinking a Monster. If I drink a Monster like a Pipeline Punch, man, it definitely makes me tired an hour or two after I drink it. I get that crash from the sugar. I don't get that with these. These give me a lot of energy, get me going. So I actually, not yesterday. It would have been last Friday. I actually put a little bit of this in my pre-workout, just to give me just a little bit more of an extra. Actually, I didn't even put it in this was my pre-workout. I drank one of these, not a full one. I think I drank half of one of these for my pre-workout. It was great. I'm also using the First Phorm pre-workout. I can't remember how many milligrams of caffeine it has in it. So I'm a little bit different as a runner. I do like to drink a pre-workout before I go running, especially on my really long runs. If I'm running, 10 plus miles, I really like to have a pre-workout just to get me going, get, that jolt of energy out the door. It honestly does something to me, and I don't know the science behind this, but it lowers my heart rate when I'm running. So if I go running and I don't take a pre-workout, my heart rate, if I'm pushing myself, can jump up to the 170, 180 pretty handily. And I run high. I run a high heart rate when I'm running, which is really weird because when I'm resting, I have a really low heart rate. Like it's 48, 50, somewhere around there. So I have a really big gap in my heart rates. But if I take a pre-workout, my heart rate will actually stay significantly lower throughout my workout, which really helps me. It doesn't make me feel like I'm burning out, and it helps me go a lot longer. Now, there's something else I found with First Phorm. It's called the Endura-Formance. So this is what I've actually started putting in my water bottle when I'm running. So I have a little, I call it a grenade, but it's a little water bottle, holds my phone, holds my water. And so I've been putting in this, so this is a non-stimulant pre-workout, and they call it an endurance formula. And so the reason I've done this is, so it's non-stimulating. So I get all the caffeine from the pre-workout, but then I'm getting the hydration, but this also brings in some electrolytes. It helps with my recovery. And then it just kind of keeps me going throughout the run. So I don't tank it when I'm running, as far as like, I don't just chug it. Excuse me. But I'll just kind of sip on it throughout the run, and it keeps my energy up throughout the entire run. I feel like it builds off of the pre-workout before I go, and then it just kind of keeps me going. I do find that I just said I don't chug it. I do find that I drink it faster than I do just regular water, because I think because it tastes good. This is the berry lemonade. I've really liked this, and it's like the scoop's perfect size for my little water bottle, my little grenade water bottle. But I've really loved it for that endurance. And then when I get home, I've always got my protein. So this is the protein that I have been using, and I'm going to continue to use. So this is the level 1. This is the natural one. I like the natural stuff. So my wife is very focused on healthy and the things that are, and what I mean healthy is like avoiding the things that are going to cause long-term negative effects. The carcinogens and stuff like that that's in a lot of our stuff. And so, she really focuses on like things that don't have the artificial junk in it and whatnot, which some of it does, but trying to avoid it as much as possible, I think, is a good thing. So they make their regular protein, but this is the natural, so it's naturally sweetened. But I love it. Like I said earlier, the taste of it is absolutely amazing. So that's what I take as soon as I get back off of my run. And so it works out really well for me and what I'm trying to do. Now they got a lot of other stuff that I will be trying, and I'll be talking about it on the podcast. But this is the stuff that I've been using for the last little while, and I've loved it for my running. Sorry, can't help myself. But I've also utilized it for my hunting, because as we know, our hunting definitely is similar to our workouts, right? Especially running for me, because it's a whole lot of cardio and endurance, and that's what we need when we're out hunting. And so the same thing that I actually use for my run is the same thing that I use when I go hunting. So I don't use a pre-workout when I'm hunting, but I have used the energy drinks. So I'll usually be drinking one of these before I start my hike. So if you listen to my last podcast, I was talking about, I shared my story of my Utah archery hunt, and that's exactly what I did before I would go, stalking deer. Is I would drink one of these energy drinks just to give myself that caffeine, but not get the jitters that I can't, settle down and shoot my bow. And then in my backpack, I'd always carry a couple of water bottles. One was just a regular water bottle that just had water in it. My other water bottle had the Endura-Formance in it. And again, just kind of sipped on it throughout the hike just to keep my electrolytes going, keep me going, take away the fatigue. And it it really, really does. And I've always got my watch on. And one of these days I'll do a video on this watch and do a little bit of a video review for you guys, because I think it's something that's not looked at in the hunting industry, but I think it's something that really should be. I think most of us have some kind of watch, smart watch, whether it's an Apple Watch or a Samsung watch or a Garmin. Mine's a Garmin. You can use it for a lot of different things, and should use them for hunting, which, well, yeah, I'll do that. I'll save that for another video at a later time. And then and when I'm out hunting and hiking, I definitely, I'll take a thing of, I'll take a protein shake with me as well. That way I can, if I do go on a long hike, get back, I immediately drink that. It just helps that recovery, after a long hike. So everything that I'm applying to my running is also applying to my hunting, which is the whole reason that I run. I mean, really the only reason that I run as much as I do is so that I can hunt the way that I hunt and have the endurance that I need to be able to go and hunt. And so that's really what I want to continue to do. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that I haven't tried. There's some hydration things that I'm excited to try. There's some vitamins that I'm excited to try. Again, I'll talk about these on the podcast. And not really in a sense of promotion, but more in a sense of like, how can I help you guys as hunters be the best hunters, both in your physical and personal life, but also in your hunting life. And so this is the stuff that I've started using, and I'm going to continue to use, and it's working for me, which is crazy because, again, I'm not a supplement guy. It's just not who I am. And maybe it's because I am getting a little bit older as well, and having, there's definitely impacts that come with age, but it's just, it's something that has really started to help me. And I wish that I would have found this. I wish I would have found this 10 years ago, or I wish I would have, at least when the nurse that I used to work with, when she kind of introduced me to this, and 75 hard and 75 hard talked about it. I wish I would have got more into it then. I can only imagine where I would be today from a personal standpoint, regardless of what eHunter and all this would be. There's so much that I could have caught up on, but there's the only, what is this saying? The second best time to start, or the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today, or something like, I can't remember. So, and that's kind of the way that I took it after that podcast with Jonathan, is I've looked at this stuff for a long time. It's time to do the research. It's time to really invest in this and see if this is something that I should be doing, or something that I should be looking at. Is it going to help me, and can I help other people with it? So that is my goal, guys, is to honestly make us be better. And again, I know that every single person out there that does content creation, that has a company that's similar to this that they work with, I know they all say that, but there's so much more. So much more to it than just supplements. In fact, let me just talk about one other thing. I want to keep this podcast short, so I'm not gonna go on for a long time. But one of the things that I've used for a long time is called MyFitnessPal. It's an app on my phone. It tracks my eating, my weight, my water consumption, all that stuff. And I've always thought it was really good. And then as I got into Phorm has an app as well. And it's a paid for app. It's cheap. It's not a big deal to pay for it. It is such a cool app. So it does everything that MyFitnessPal does, and then some. And then it gives you, I'm a little bit of a data geek. It gives you a lot of data behind the stuff that you're consuming. Obviously, it makes it very easy. Where a lot of the stuff I'm consuming is Phorm stuff, but it has like everything in there that you can track. You can track your weight, your progress, a lot of different things in there. But then also it gives you workouts. A lot of people, there's this new program, this Mountain Tough program, that some people are associated with. And I actually tried it. It was a good program. It wasn't a great program. No offense to them. I feel like, well, and I guess it's not offensive to them because they continue to improve it, which kudos to them. They're doing a good job with that. But the thing that this Phorm app has, that I don't know that some of these other apps have, I guess I won't pick on just that one, but some of these other ones, is Phorm has so much, so many people that have a lot of experience. So they're pulling from a lot bigger field than what some of these other companies or these other apps are doing. And so they're tailoring a lot of this or taking all this information from a lot of these people and then tailoring it to what you need as an individual. In fact, there's one in there specifically for hunters, which is the one that I'm doing currently. It's awesome. There's just so much to do. So pretty much if you want to do it, if there's something that you want to focus on from a physical standpoint, there is a program for you built into that app. Again, the price of it is not that much. Again, I'll leave a link. I'll leave links to all this stuff, guys. And it means a lot to me if you go and click on those links and do something with that. Go look. Click there. I'll leave a main link that you guys can go to. Go and click on that and just look and see what's on there. I think you'll be surprised at what's available to you from Phorm and this company and what they're trying to do. Again, supplements aside, there's a bunch of supplements on there, but supplements aside, as you look into it, there's a lot that's advantageous to us as human beings, as individuals. So I encourage you guys to do that. It does support me, and I do appreciate all the support that you guys are giving to me and helping eHunter grow into what it is. And but I want to be able to help everybody else as well. And this is definitely a way that we can help. We'll do giveaways, we'll do discounts, we'll do all those things. But more importantly, it's a bit of a new day. It's time to, be better, do better, live better, do the things that we probably, at least I should have been doing all along. But the time is now to make those changes. So excited to get this podcast out to you guys. I've been sitting on this for a little while and haven't said anything to many people because I wanted to make sure that this was the right road that I wanted to go down for myself and for eHunter. But it is. This is the right road to go down. This is the right thing to do. And I'm super excited to share this with you all. This is going to be such a fun time. So anyways, guys, I sure appreciate the support that you guys give the podcast. Got some cool podcasts coming up. I've got some really cool guests that are going to be joining me over the next little bit. Some pretty just legit hunters, man. These guys are killers, and I love it. So we're gonna have some fun podcasts. I've got 2 lined up for this week that are gonna be a lot of fun, and it's exciting. I'm very excited about what the future holds. And so if you're not subscribed to the podcast, wherever you're listening or watching, make sure and subscribe. YouTube's probably going to be the best place, honestly, to subscribe to the podcast. Now I get it. A lot of us can't sit down and watch a podcast. So if you're on Apple, if you're on Spotify, make sure and hit that follow button so that you get alerted when I post new podcasts. But if you're on YouTube, make sure and subscribe to that. Got some really cool videos coming up about some products that I'm reviewing. I talked a little bit about that in my last video that I did, my last podcast. But I got some really cool videos coming out with some new products. Got some great hunt videos from the Utah General Hunt. Chad, my buddy Chad, he's been on quite a few of my videos. Got a video of him that I'm going to be putting up pretty quick. So yeah, just some really, really cool things so that I'm excited about. So make sure you guys are subscribed, following along. Love the support, guys. Make sure and comment. Let me know what you're loving, what you feel like that needs to be changed or done different. I'll take it all. But again, appreciate you guys, and we will see you soon.